This is Oscar Bevis for the Stomping Ground, powered by Wow Hydrate and available on the DAZN, Ed. Cheeky 5k this morning.
Where was yours? I mean, you wear your running trainers with a suit. You could at least be here to
I'm
run,
actually wearing them as well.
I know you are.
I know, yeah.
No, it's great. I didn't really fancy it, to be honest with you, but so happy I've done it. Great turnout for the 5k. Show last night with GBM on DAZN. It was great. Stayed up to watch Sandy Ryan. And obviously the show tonight as well.
Is it always going to be hard to match a standard of Terence Crawford turning up?
Yeah. I did tell Kell Brook to turn up this morning. He wasn't here. But no, it's still a good turnout. A great way to start the day.
Yeah, after everything you two have been through, he's let you down.
Oh, no.
Last night, what on earth went on with the red paint outside the hotel?
So I woke up I set my alarm for 5 a.m. because Frank said that the fight was at midnight, their time. And when I woke up, I went online. The fight before was only in the 6th round. And I'm like, I see a picture of Sandy Ryan covered in paint. And I'm thinking, is this like part of a outfit for the night or what? And then it just says Sandy Ryan attacked or assaulted outside her hotel. And I'm thinking, what on earth is going on here? And then read into it. And as she's left the fight hotel, someone's attacked her and come up to her and thrown a whole bucket of paint all over her. Red paint. I mean, and then, to be honest with you, I presumed the fight was off because you don't really want to be going into a fight when that's just happened to you. But as I understand it, Coach K said to pull out the fight, but she didn't want to pull out the fight. She wanted to keep the show on and she wanted to fight. And, you know, I've got to respect her for that. How you doing, Liam? You all right, mate? Got to give her unbelievable respect for that, the fact that she was even in the fight. The fight itself was tremendous. I mean, respect to both girls because I thought Sandy edged the fight, but it was a fight that could have gone either way, 96-94. It was just that kind of fight. But the fact that she's gone in there and performed like that after what had happened, and to be honest with you, I think the whole thing's a disgrace. I mean, you've got to protect these fighters. I'll be speaking to Top Rank, I'll be speaking to the WBO, and let's be honest, we know the beef between the camps. I'm not accusing anyone of everything, but who is going to specifically target Sandy Ryan walking out of her hotel? The whole thing looks like a setup. You know, the WBO need to act, Top Rank need to act because they need to protect our fighters. You know, when we have our fighters going, you get escorted by security into your car to go to the venue or whatever. So I don't know what's happened, but it's a disgrace what's happened to Sandy Ryan. One, she should get the immediate rematch. We're also talking to Queensberry about the Chantel Cameron fight, but I can't believe she's had to go through with that fight, having all that happen to her. I mean, you saw her interview when she got to the change room. Emotionally and mentally, she wasn't fit to fight, and she still put in a performance like that.
Yeah, for her to put in a performance where, like you said, arguably, at least from your side, she edged the fight.
The fight could have gone either way. Like, I'm not saying it was. Yeah. I mean, she got robbed against McCaskill. It's a very close fight last night. Michaela was great. Sandy was great. But if you don't think that's a targeted attack, you need your brain tested.
It's one of the odder pictures I've ever seen in boxing.
Well, I've just never seen anything like it. Never seen a fighter attacked or assaulted as they've left their hotel on the way to a venue. What's going on?
Yeah. So, just to, I don't want to say to clarify, but would you point or would you presume that Team Maya are involved?
Not presuming anything. Don't you think it's a bit weird? There's all this massive beef between everyone, and someone waits outside her hotel, knowing what time she's leaving, and throws a bucket of paint all over her. I mean, if that goes in her face, in her eyes, can blind her, number one. Number two, they didn't know where they were throwing it. They were hoping to get it all over her.
Yeah. Sheffield tonight in that arena just over there. You're going to get your Women's World Title fight, Rhiannon Dixon, Terry Harper.
Look, I think it's been a tough ride, this show, to be honest with you. You know, we had the big show in Sheffield Arena with Dalton Smith. He pulled out. We wanted to keep it alive. We put Johnny Fisher headlining at Copper Box. He tore his bicep, and then it's like, you know, I didn't want to let Terry and Rhiannon down because their fight had already been rescheduled.
Did you ever think this show is cursed?
Yeah,
I might just have to pull the plug.
It probably is cursed. And we had, 2.5 weeks to put it together. But, like, I don't believe in just walking away from things and just taking the easy route. So, yeah, you do money. The show's not quite what you would hope for in terms of your usual standard. But people who have worked hard get the financial opportunity. It's still a good card. There's still great fights on the card. Pete McGraw against Brad Foster's a really good fight. Liddard's in a good fight. The main event's a cracker. So we get through it and we get everybody paid and we let them have their opportunity.
Is Sonny Edwards right to have reservations about
Yeah,
Gala?
I understand Gala taking a fight because he hasn't boxed since what, June or something like that, and like he hasn't had many fights and he wants to go into the Sonny Edwards fight firing. But if it goes tits up tonight and he gets cut and the fight's off, everyone goes, why on earth? But he wouldn't take the Sonny Edwards fight, or his coach wouldn't, without that warm-up fight. So fingers crossed, it's a tough Mexican that he should deal with quite comfortably, and then Sonny will be here in the ring and the fun and games begins tonight.
Yeah. Did you see Charlie Edwards last night?
Yeah.
It was odd seeing Sonny, looking over and seeing Sonny in the other corner.
Yeah, I think, but it's good though, you know. I think that like.
Do you think the general public bought into the storyline?
Not
Because
really,
it's easy when you're in boxing to be a bit of a critic and go,
But I think,
you know, there's no real
if you manage a somber, or you've been in his corner, or you've been in his camp for most, like, I quite like the way that Sonny's obviously had a chat with Charlie and gone, listen, I know you're my brother and I wish you all the best, but I can't let this kid down. I'll represent him, and respect to both of them. You know, they're both good fighters. Obviously, Sonny, you know, both been world champions, and Sonny's right there as one of the top flyweights in the world, and you know he'll be there tonight causing havoc among Galao fight.
Yeah, when is he not causing havoc,
Exactly.
Sonny Edwards? One thing we didn't get to speak about on Wednesday, obviously because of what went down at the press conference, was Dimitri Bivol and Artur Beterbiev. First off, the trailer.
Yeah.
I think that might be the best one.
It is. I mean,
I think it might just top the 5v5.
Yeah. The
Possibly.
thing is, with the trailers now, it's like they're so good that it takes something ultra extraordinary for everyone to go, wow. Like, you imagine if they would have dropped that trailer a year ago, everyone would be saying, I've never seen anything like it. Now you're almost expectant of these trailers. So, look, it's a great fight. I think for me, it's the best fight in boxing. And two great fighters, two great champions. I can't wait. 2 weeks today. Incredible. Great card as well.
Yeah, it just shows what a long way we've come. Do you remember was it Hey Chisora? Upton Park, the Danny Dyer promo?
Yeah.
Come down, Upton
But
Park.
sometimes, you know, look, you're talking about budgets for these promos, bigger than most fight card budgets, you know?
Yeah. What sort of stuff was Dimitri saying to you in terms of the fight? I know you're going to say that he looks ready, but
it's just like,
any energy
he's
you got
been
off
ready. I mean,
Beterbiev
don't
as
forget
well,
this
or?
fight was supposed to take place on June the 1st. I mean, even better for us, we had a fight. Do you know what I mean? So there's no excuses on our behalf. It's a complete 50-50 fight. It really is.
Yeah. Was there any sort of energy you were getting from Camp Beterbiev, or?
No, they're both calm. They're both like ice cold, aren't they?
Yeah.
So.
Both quite sad. Just a final one. I know it's something that I saw Fabio Wardley speak quite passionately about, and I guess rightly so. A lot of the criticism that's been aimed at Ben Davis, and it just seems like with an Anthony Joshua loss, it's the only time there's a massive inquiry into everything that's gone on. But
like,
I guess both trainer and fighter are there to.
I just had a bit of beef
Take
with
stick.
you know, some of these boys. I think one of them's coming over my shoulder now. You know, like what you have to do is, if you don't show humility and humbleness in life, you're going to get found out quite quickly. Like I just said to a kid down there, like, you know, he's like, "What? Yeah, Joshua's shit, isn't he? Yeah." I said, "Yeah." And I picked up a little pebble off the ground, and I said, "See that?" I said, "If you can achieve that much of AJ's success and achievements, you would have done unbelievably well." I will. I said, "Well, how old are you?" He said, "I'm 16. I said, "Good." Because at 22, he won Olympic gold. So he got 6 years. I'll win Olympic gold. I'll win. Now, listen, I hope he does go on and win that. But you know, you got to, I feel like one of the biggest weaknesses in life is not sort of embracing the energy of other success, right? So like, there's too much anger and bitterness towards people and not enough respect and humility. So like, I'm not saying you have to be an Anthony Joshua fan and you have to, you know, like applaud his performance, because he didn't perform very well. But until you can walk in those shoes, you have to respect it. Do you know what I mean? And if you can't do what others can do, you can't really have an opinion of, not criticism for the performance. You're always entitled to criticise the performance. But you can't question the heart, you can't question the consistency, you can't question the commitment, and you can't question the legacy. Do you know what I'm saying? And I feel like kids today, particularly, they're cheeky little fuckers, aren't they? I mean, you see a lot of them down there.
One of them, didn't he just say Daniel Dubois? Randomly?
Yeah, but that's all right, because that's banter. But like, I don't care about that. But when you're, you know, sometimes you hear them like, yeah, well, he's shit now, man. It's like, mate, just like, you got to show more love. You can say that he boxed bad and he made this mistake and his hands were low and all that, but you got to respect people. And I feel like kids today particularly don't actually have the respect for people. I think particularly their parents. I mean, look, I'm a father. Sometimes I think even my own kids, like the lack of respect today that kids have in general is gleaming. And that's why boxing particularly, I think, helps that. And the coaches help that. And I think, you know, kids get a little bit lost in a social media world of like banter. And I don't think it helps how people behave. Even some fighters, to be honest with you.
Mm.
Like, you know, with the way that they talk and the things that they say and the beef online. Because kids just copy everything, you know. So that, for me, that's why I think AJ is such a great role model. And people like Katie Taylor. Like, every time my kids have met Katie Taylor, I'm just I step back and I just watch them and I'm like, oh, please, just more time, because that's the mentality that I want them to have in life. Humility, respect, but an unwavering desire and commitment to their passion. And you know, that's what we need to make sure that kids have, a passion, because there's too many kids that kind of go through life not really falling in love with something or having a passion and drive for something. And if you don't, you just get caught up in the system. And that's okay, because that could be the bulk. But the ones that can find the passion and can follow their desire and have a consistent drive for that passion are the ones that are actually going to go on and achieve great things.
Yeah. Just one final one. You mentioned the way that a certain generation act. If we take, I guess, kind of remove what we saw there, because that was a boxing club where you got the likes of between, I don't know, 9-year-olds and 12-year-olds. But in terms of perhaps my generation, or maybe like the 18 to 21 type generation, I always feel like Anthony Joshua will have like the respect. You know, when people say he's got the streets, I always feel like AJ will always have that, at least amongst my generation, that kind of unwavering, but
I
what
don't
he's
think,
done, we respect.
like kids between probably the age of like 10 and 15, they're kind of immature to the fact that like, they see everything online and, you know, it's all about slating people and, you know, like even my daughter the other day, she goes, Dad, should we make a diss track? I'm like, why have we got well, you know, just in general, like she's just seen them, you know what I mean? Like, and I'm like, no, we don't need to diss anyone. That's just the culture, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? So I don't know. I think your age group, when you talk about 18, 21, I think they've missed the boat of the current disrespectful child. Do you know what I mean? That every generation that comes through now seems to be more disrespectful, to the point where people feel like they can carry weapons on the street without any consequences. Like, I just know that when I grew up, which, you know, when I was 16, which was what, blimey, 1995, like that era, people were petrified to carry knives. I mean, people just didn't carry knives because you just knew that if you had a knife, you're going inside. And like when you went to a nightclub, very rarely would there be trouble. Might be a little scuffle, breakout or whatever, but you know, every now and again you'd hear of something. I don't know.
Not that it makes it right, but I guess at least it was man on man with fists.
Yeah, but when it did, it was like an isolated incident.
Yeah.
No one would walk around, and I feel like we've become so desensitised to things. Like, can we just take a minute to understand that kids are carrying machetes on the streets openly, yeah, and walking around and waving them about in a fight with someone where there's hundreds of people around? I just feel like the world's like, it's gone so extreme now that all these incidents, you know, you look at the incident in Southport, right? It's been forgotten about. I mean, I know that maybe within that particular community they'll never forget that, but the British public, it's like, you know, you go back to major incidents of the past. I remember growing up when Stephen Lawrence lost his life. That incident was talked about for decades.
And still is.
I know, but what I'm saying is, then you've got that incident in Southport, it's gone, and till the next one. And then there's another murder on the street, and then another murder on the street. But I don't really understand why people aren't looking at what is actually happening and acting immediately. Like, how can the government not be sitting down and having their meetings and saying, guys, like, have you seen what's happening out there? We can't wait anymore. It's got to be immediate. You know, you talk about releasing people early from prison, right, back into the system. But what you need to be doing is you need to be introducing penalties for carrying weapons. So when there's a stop and search and someone's carrying a machete, or what they call the big knives, zombie knife, it's 10 years.
15-year-old was killed with a zombie knife yesterday in London.
10 years. Not for killing someone, for carrying one. What? There's no reason to carry a knife and a zombie knife. So what's the problem? Oh, well, our jails are full. Fucking do something else then. Build more jails. Because you have to put people off. They don't care. It's what I'm talking about, kids having respect. They have no fear for the consequences. They have no fear for the reactions and the actions. Like, what world do we live in where a kid's at home, right, and they go under their bed and pull out a zombie knife like this, put it in their trousers and walk the streets with it, ready to use it? The only way you're going to deter people from doing that is for immediate sentencing and zero tolerance. Not, oh, well, we'll let you out in 3 months. I mean, you look at some of the other disgraceful things that people are doing at the moment, they're not even getting time in jail. But this is a very straightforward thing that's introduced from the government. You get caught with a knife on the street, you do 10 years.
Yeah.
You know, and then they talk about, well, it's the cost of, good. You putting the taxes up, right? So this is the other thing at the moment. You've got the budget coming up. The taxes are going to go up, right? No problem. As long as this is a safe place to live. So you're asking people, like me as well, and that's all right. And people say, oh, well, you got loads of money. Yeah, do you know how much tax we pay a year? Fucking tens of millions. And I don't have a problem with it. But I do have a problem with it if my kids are not safe to walk the streets. And I ain't staying here if my kids ain't safe to walk the streets. I'm not staying here for their kids to not be safe to walk the streets. So unless you put the tax up, you use the money to make our country great again and to make the streets safe again. That's what I'm concerned about. And I don't see it. I don't see these spineless politicians without the ability to act and to stand up and say enough's enough. Because these people are just, one, inept, and two, they do not understand what is going on. I mean, even me, I don't go out and walk the streets, but I know what's happening. I know incidents, and I speak to people and fighters and boxing clubs, and it's completely out of control. So if I can see it's out of control, how can they not see it's out of control? Anyway, rant over. Let's enjoy the boxing tonight.